Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. What you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's not a skit. It's the word-for-word federal courtroom testimony from one of the most controversial trials in recent memory. And the man delivering it? Not a lawyer, not a journalist, but a comedian. Katt Williams. For years, people laughed at his rants. They brushed off his interviews, dismissed his warnings. Katt's just being Katt, they said. But when he walked into that courtroom, no jokes, no applause, just silence. Everything changed. This wasn't a comedy set. It was a reckoning. Why does this matter now? Because the trial wasn't just about one man. It exposed a system, power, silence, manipulation, stretching from Hollywood red carpets to gospel stages. A system that controls who rises, who falls, and who never gets the mic in the first place. Imagine every name you've ever trusted in entertainment, being tied together by parties, hidden cameras, and contracts you never saw coming. That's what this testimony uncovers. The names will shock you. The stories will shake you. But the real question is, why was Katt Williams the only one brave enough to say it all, under oath? What was the price of his silence? And what happens now that he's broken it? Get ready, because this isn't a headline. It's history unfolding, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. The doors creaked open, heads turned, and in walked Katt Williams. But this wasn't the Katt the world knew. No velvet suit, no entourage, no grin. Just a simple gray outfit, a folder in one hand, and a stare so sharp it could slice through the tension in the room. The reporters? Silent. The jury? Alert. Even the defense seemed to sit a little straighter. For a man known for his explosive stage presence, Katt's calm was unnerving. He wasn't cracking jokes. He wasn't looking for laughs. He walked in, like a man with nothing left to prove and everything to lose. You could feel it in the air. This wasn't a performance. This was a man stepping into enemy territory armed only with the truth. When he took the stand, the hush in the courtroom was total. The judge leaned forward. The cameras clicked once, then stopped. The moment had weight, and then he spoke. Let me say this one time under oath and without any punchline. I warned y'all years ago, and you laughed. And just like that, the laughter stopped. What followed was no longer entertainment. It was testimony, and the industry would never be the same. From the moment Katt Williams took the stand, it became clear. This wasn't just about Diddy. This was about an entire system hiding in plain sight. One that trades fame for silence, influence for compliance, and power for obedience. The courtroom wasn't just full of lawyers and witnesses. It was filled with questions that had gone unanswered for decades. Why do some stars rise so fast while others vanish? How do careers get made overnight? And what really happens behind those closed Hollywood doors? Katt wasn't just accusing Diddy. He was pointing fingers at a network, a structure designed to reward those who play along and crush those who don't. A structure protected by wealth, media, and even the church. Every sentence he spoke under oath threatened reputations, empires, and legacies. And everyone in that room knew it. This wasn't about drama. This was about documentation. This was no longer rumor or speculation. These were sworn statements, under the penalty of perjury. And if what Katt said was true, then the entertainment industry wasn't just corrupt. It was complicit. You want names? Katt said, leaning into the mic. Cool, I got names. And then it started. Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Ludacris, LeBron James, T.D. Jakes, Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. Each name hit like a shockwave. These weren't tabloid figures or fringe rumors. These were cultural giants, global icons, the kind of people fans trust, admire, and emulate. The courtroom froze. Katt wasn't speculating. He was stating facts under oath. He claimed every name he dropped had been present at private events hosted or facilitated by Diddy. And these weren't your average Hollywood parties. Phones were confiscated, NDAs were signed, but the cameras still rolling, hidden, controlled. These parties weren't celebrations, Katt said. They were initiations. According to Katt, Diddy didn't just throw parties, he built leverage. Celebrities walked in clean. They left with footage that could end careers, and Diddy held all the keys. You think it's a coincidence? Katt asked. That all these people toe the same line, protect the same folks, promote the same messages? He paused, then added, they know. They've seen the tapes. Or worse, they're in them. The courtroom tensed as he detailed how actors suddenly landed movie deals. Musicians got unexpected radio play, and comedians launched stadium tours out of nowhere. None of it, Katt claimed, was by accident. He described a machine, a gatekeeping network, where your rise depended on what you were willing to do, and more importantly, what you were willing to stay quiet about. And in the center of it all, Diddy. Not just as a figurehead, but as the facilitator, the one who had dirt on everyone and never hesitated to use it. This ain't about talent, Katt said. Half these people couldn't sell out a high school auditorium without that machine behind them. Then, looking directly at the jury, he added, I'm not saying every single one of them participated in what went down, but I am saying they all knew, and not one of them said a damn thing. And just like that, the trial wasn't just about one man anymore. It was about a culture of silence, and a comedian willing to shatter it. Katt didn't just name names, he gave the playbook. The parties, he said, were never about networking. They were about power, control, leverage, and everyone who walked in was a pawn in a bigger game. Here's how it worked, according to Katt. First, the invite. Exclusive, last minute. Always from someone inside the circle, usually a trusted face, a fellow celebrity, a friend, someone who could vouch for the vibe. Then the setup. Lavish locations. Mansions, luxury hotels, everything top tier. But once inside, the tone shifted. Phones were immediately taken. Security briefings followed. Sign this NDA, they were told. No pictures, no recordings. But what they didn't know? The cameras were already rolling. Katt described rooms laced with hidden surveillance, pinhole lenses in walls, microphones in furniture, ceiling tiles that weren't real ceiling tiles. The whole place wired, not for safety, but for strategy. These weren't parties, Katt said. These were sets. The guests drank, they danced, they got comfortable, and then, according to Katt, the real agenda began. People were paired up, guided, pushed into compromising situations, all while the hidden cameras captured everything. He claimed that by the end of the night, some attendees walked out not just buzzed but bound, caught in acts they couldn't afford to be made public. And those tapes, they didn't vanish. They were archived, labeled, cataloged, insurance. Katt painted a picture of Diddy not as a host, but a collector, a blackmail broker. He doesn't just record dirt, Katt said. He manufactures it. People walk in clean, they leave dirty. It was a system, one where silence wasn't just expected, it was enforced. And the message was clear. Stay loyal or get exposed. He described celebrities who got sudden boosts, record deals, roles, endorsements, right after one of these parties, and others, like himself, who said no, and saw everything dry up overnight. You don't just say no to the machine, he said. You say no, and they say you're crazy, they say you're unstable. Then they bury you. And that's when it clicked for the courtroom. This wasn't about scandals. This was about structure, a system designed to create stars and silence witnesses. When the name Tyler Perry left Katt's lips, the room shifted. It wasn't just the weight of the name, it was the implication. Tyler wasn't just successful, he was a symbol of black ownership, of media power, of Hollywood breakthrough. But according to Katt, that image came at a cost. "This ain't about gender, this ain't about wigs, this is about power," Katt said. He claimed Tyler's meteoric rise wasn't solely due to talent or hustle, but facilitation. Katt described early bad boy staff coordinating Perry's premieres. Media coverage allegedly funded by Diddy's network. It wasn't organic, it was orchestrated. And then Katt hit harder. "Tyler told his male actors not to associate with me," Katt testified. "You know why? Because he saw me at one of those parties, and he knew, I knew." He wasn't done. Kevin Hart, the golden boy, the face of family films, arena tours, billion-dollar box office. But Katt said Kevin's rise came right after he said yes. Yes to deals, yes to silence, yes to the system. You think it's talent? It's timing. Right place, right network, right compromise. Katt referenced parties, specific dates, even a room in Miami in 2013, identical to the one described by Cassie Ventura in her own case. Then the final blow. Kevin wasn't just a guest, he was a handler. According to Katt, Kevin's role was to keep new recruits calm, safe, distracted. He didn't just show up, he smoothed things over. He helped manage the machine. And while Katt was getting blocked, blacklisted, audited, Kevin was getting greenlit, movie after movie, tour after tour. "That laugh you hear," Katt said, "it came with a price." Katt's testimony wasn't done naming entertainers. It was about exposing patterns, those who benefited by staying silent even when they knew the truth. He turned to Ricky Smiley, calling him the blueprint of compromise. You ever wonder how he went from prank calls to syndicated radio? It wasn't the jokes, it was the dress. Katt claimed that Ricky's real breakthrough came only after attending Atlanta-based parties tied to Diddy's Southern Circle. Not open invites, groomed guest lists, people who could be useful, people who would comply. And then came the twist. "I put it in my contract," Katt said, "that I wouldn't work with Ricky again unless he wore the dress." Why? Because that's how they reward submission. I wanted people to see the pattern. Next was Steve Harvey. The godfather of obedience, Katt called him. A man who built his image on integrity, but, according to Katt, knew everything and said nothing. He referenced Steve's silence while Diddy dated his daughter Lori. After, she'd previously dated Diddy's son. What father does that? Katt asked. One who's in too deep. And then, the name that shook the room, T.D. Jakes. Katt didn't mince words. He accused the megachurch pastor of offering cover, not counsel. Hosting Diddy at gospel concerts, discouraging gospel artists from speaking out. He didn't just preach near the fire, Katt said. He helped put out the alarms. Then came the chilling quote, "There's nothing wrong with God, but there's a whole lot wrong with the people pretending to speak for him." The courtroom wasn't just hearing names anymore. They were hearing how the machine maintained silence, through laughter, through faith, through fear, and how even the most trusted voices were part of the quiet. By now, the courtroom was silent, not out of shock, but calculation. Everyone was thinking the same thing. If this is true, how deep does it go? Katt answered that question with one word: surveillance. These weren't just parties with hidden cameras, he said. These were operations. According to Katt, every high-profile event hosted by Diddy wasn't just lavish, it was layered. Inside the walls of rented mansions and hotel suites, there were eyes. Pinhole cameras hidden in art, vents, lamps, microphones tucked beneath table edges. Entire rooms wired for high-definition capture without a single red light blinking. But the footage didn't stay in Diddy's hands. It's bigger than him, Katt warned. These tapes don't just go to his laptop, they go to servers. Backed, up, encrypted, owned by people you've never heard of. The goal wasn't entertainment. It was leverage, blackmail as a business model. You make one mistake, one slip, he said, and suddenly you're a puppet. Do what they say what they write, or get exposed. Katt claimed that multiple celebrities had confided in him, panicked, paranoid, terrified of what could leak. He didn't name them, but said the fear was real. One brother told me, "If they release what they got on me, I'll lose everything. Family, career, everything." The recordings weren't a rumor. They were a system, a vault of silence built on shame and secrets. And the longer you stayed in the industry, the more you owed to its discretion. "This ain't about sex, tapes," Katt said. "It's about control. It's about obedience. And once they got footage, they got you." For the first time, the jury looked scared, not of Katt, but of what he was making visible. Katt then turned the spotlight on the ones who didn't play along, the rebels, the ones labeled crazy for choosing truth over silence. He started with Dave Chappelle. "They said he ran to Africa, that he lost his mind, but he didn't," Katt said. He walked away from 50 million because he saw what was behind the curtain. Then, Martin Lawrence. "Remember when he was running through traffic yelling, 'They're trying to kill me'? That wasn't a breakdown. That was a breaking point." Katt connected the dots. Fame, pressure, surveillance, silence. He mentioned Jaguar Wright, Al B. Sure, others who dared speak and were swiftly sidelined. You speak up, they call you crazy, then they erase you. And finally, he pointed to himself. "Y'all laughed when I told you, but I wasn't high. I was heated. I saw the system, and I tried to warn you. The ones who tried to escape weren't unstable. They were awake." As Katt wrapped his testimony, the courtroom was no longer just listening. They were witnessing. He looked at Diddy, then the judge, then the jury. "They asked me to sign something too," he said quietly. "Offered me a check that would have changed my life. All I had to do was stay silent. And I said no." He paused, then added, "I'm not suicidal. I don't own a gun. I love my family. If something happens to me after this, just know I didn't do it." Gasps echoed. Reporters scribbled furiously. Katt stood, straightened his shoulders, looked every juror in the eye. "You think this is about parties? About rumors? Nah, this is about power and what people will do to keep it." He stepped down from the stand, not as a comedian, but as a witness, not for fame, for truth. And in that moment, silence wasn't empty. It was the sound of truth landing. Katt Williams didn't just testify. He lit a match in a room soaked in secrets. This wasn't about one man. It was about an entire machine, built on silence, fueled by fear, protected by power. He warned us through comedy. Now he's done laughing. So ask yourself, if this is true, what else is? And who's next to speak? If this testimony moved you, opened your eyes, or made you question what's behind the curtain, don't scroll past. Like this video. Comment your thoughts. Share it widely. And most importantly, subscribe in for the truth others won't say out loud.